Hello everyone, thank you for stopping by my channel today. My name is Daryl and I am back on the custom built-in project again today. I think this is, I think it's video number 9. So there'll probably be like, it could be video number 30 for all I know. But this is video 9, I believe. Right down here is Zoom. And she came up here to join me while I make this video. So let me turn the camera around and show you where I'm at right now with this. Okay, this is the face frame just roughed in there. You can see how it's going to look in here. So it's not glued together, it doesn't have the veneer on it. Up here at the top is kind of like a little transom window. I don't know what the final outcome is going to be for that, whether it's just going to have a piece of stained glass put in it or clear glass. My wife and I thought about making some kind of maybe display case up in there. Who knows? And then up in here is going to be, I was kind of, let me back up a little bit. I was kind of on the fence about whether I wanted one big door to open or 2 small doors. And I think we're going to go with the small doors. And then of course we got the drawers. So our next step is to take this back off, take it out to the shop, and I need to sand these connection points to make sure everything is nicely in like coplanar with each other. So when I go to put the veneer in, it will be lined up nice and smooth going across here. So that's what I need to do. And then after I sand it, then I can start applying the veneer to it. And I will, of course, apply the veneer with it apart, individual pieces. And then I will glue it all together and then sand it again and then put the stain on it and then, of course, the clear. So, but you can see the inside turned out really nice. And then up here, up there is where my power comes through for my light. So it's all coming together. It's just really slow. I've got other things to do. We've recently got a new dog, and we've been busy trying to get the dog acclimated with the cats and the other dog in the house. So that's what's going on now. And this is Callie. Callie's about a year old, and she comes to us after our oldest dog, Boone, passed away a few months ago. And Boone had arthritis really bad, and she had what we believe she had a few strokes, and she was having seizures, so we didn't have a choice. We did have to put her down. It was a rough day. It's been rough even now, her not being here. And we thought we'd take a little break from we were always going to get another dog. We're kind of a 2-dog house, and she came up available, and she was an emergency rescue, so we went and saw her with our other dog, Jagger, and we brought her home. And she has a story behind her that's not very good, you know. She was mistreated, but so far she's been doing really good here. So that's been taking up a lot of my wife's time, a lot of my time. Like, my wife's gone now, taking the other dog swimming, so we have been taking turns watching her and, you know, letting her walk free around the house and try to deal with the cats, integrating her in with the cats and getting her sleeping all night and kennel trained and all this and that, and going out to my shop with me. So that's what's going on. That's why, you know, sometimes I don't always get to work on these projects, you know, day after day after day, or you're never going to come. Like, there's a lot of YouTubers that will, you know, you sit down and watch their video and they'll start and finish a project all in one video. I can't see that happening for me anytime soon. There's just too many things for me to occupy my time. So I tried my best to try to keep on track with these and projects, and make videos too. So anyway, so this is Callie, and she'll probably be showing up in my workshop videos, because she's going to be coming out there to my workshop with me. Alrighty, we are in the shop here, and you can see that I have the face frame sitting on its side. It has all been assembled, just so I can put it into place and see what it looks like. So the next steps here is to sand it and then get it prepared for receiving veneer. In this box right here is the veneer. So it came in a couple of days ago. And I ordered this from a company called VeneerSupplies.com. I have dealt with them quite a few times, and I've had awesome luck with them as far as the quality and the shipping. You can see that the box came in really good condition. There's just a little, maybe where it was dropped a couple times in the corner, but other than that, very nicely shipped. I've never had a quality problem when I've received anything from them, and it's what I ordered on that website. When you're ordering the veneer, you can actually look at the actual veneer that you're going to be sent, and I really like that, so I know what I'm going to be getting. So when I bought the veneer, I wanted to try to get veneer that was long enough to veneer this whole rail, or this whole style here on both the top and the bottom. But I was not able to get veneer long enough, so I'll have to patch that in, or I guess book match that in, or whatever you want to call it. But I'll show you when I do it, and hopefully it won't be very noticeable when I do that. Well, there you have it. I have all the parts all sanded, and we're ready to veneer. So let's go over and open up that box of veneer and take a look at what we have. Alright, we have our box here from Veneer Supplies. Let's open it up and take a look at what we got. Packing slip. Put that over here aside. Paper. And our veneer is packed nicely inside the box. I always roll them up, of course. So we have our little package here. Now you have to be very careful when you take this out of this packing here. When you do cut this loose, see how they fold in these sides to try to keep it together. But when you take that out of there, it is going to want to spring open. So be very careful, especially when you're cutting this, that you don't cut down, cut along the paper edge. And I'm going to pull these corners out. Now it's essentially loose. So I'm going to hold it there while I get rid of this knife. And then I'm going to just slowly unroll it. You can see how it wants to spring open. That's okay, it's not going to hurt it any. There we go, it's out of control. So there we go. So this is our veneer. We have 3 slices. Now these are concentric. I actually forget what they call it when they cut it. When they cut right off the tree trunk. But it's cut in successive. Is it successive? It's cut in an order. So these all were taken off the same tree. So basically what we want to do is just kind of lay it out and let it acclimate to the shop a little bit, because it's a lot more humid in here than maybe it was inside that box. So we want to just take it out of the box, lay it on something flat like this, and if you can leave it for 24 hours, that would be great. You can still use it right out of the box. It's not going to hold a whole lot of moisture because it's really thin, so it's not going to hold a lot of moisture, but you do want to let it sit out for a little bit, come to temperature, get the moisture content equalized with the room. So, but you can also, if you're cutting this stuff, you're going to cut it oversized and then trim the excess off with a flush trim bit. So you can cut your pieces ahead of time and then let those pieces sit for 24 hours maybe, and then come back and glue them down to the board. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to just do a couple of, maybe 1 or 2 pieces for you guys, and then I'm going to do the rest, and I'm going to let them sit overnight, and then I'm going to come back tomorrow and I'm going to glue these down to the boards, and then we'll let them sit a little bit, and then I'll be staining them and letting them set for another 24 hours. Alright, so let's do that. Let's clear this bench off a little bit. Now, by bench I mean table saw, because my bench is not long enough to do the 2 styles. So I have to do it over here, and you can see they're still going to hang over the edge, even the veneer is hanging over. So it's a little rough. I need a assembly table. I haven't made one, and I don't have the room with this car here, so I will maybe in the future make one of those. So anyway, let's get our little pieces of wood and our little pieces, our rails, and we'll do I'll do a couple of rails, and then I'll do the rest off camera. Alrighty, I'm going to briefly show you how I go about putting the veneer on a board. This is the upside of my board, so I'm going to place it down. I kind of want to look at the grain here and try to find the best place to place this for the best looking grain. So I might move it around a little bit and just kind of take a look at what it is underneath my my piece here, and try to line it up with the grain and just kind of get a look at it. So I might move it a few times. Just to kind of get it centered up to where I want it. And sometimes sometimes you won't have it sitting on the veneer straight, along the grain. You'll have to kind of move it around and get it adjusted the way you want it to look. So the next step I'll do is, when I do this, is I'm going to take a pencil and I'm going to give myself maybe about 1/4 of an inch on each side of the board. And I'm going to come over here and I'm going to mark it. And I just want a little bit of overhang on my board. And then I'll use the flush trim bit and just flush it up with the board itself. So this is my upside, and then this is going up towards the ceiling here. So the next step is going to be to cut this, and I can see that my knife is on the other side of the shop here, so I'll have to go up. So it doesn't have to be perfect. Just try to get it as close as you can. Let me go get this knife. And just take your time. Don't cut your finger. Just take your time. And just give it a couple slices here, and you can see it's already coming loose. So just take it easy, take your time. And you can just bring it out to the edge. And if it's not quite cut off all the way, just go back and make another swipe. There you go. So there's one. Now for my ease, I will turn it around. And I kind of line it up with that other line again. You don't want to go, it's easier to take some off than it is to try to put some on. So just take your time and give yourself a little bit of extra hanging over. And sometimes it doesn't cut, exactly straight. This is probably not the best tool to use to do this. Make sure your straight edge doesn't move on you. Now a few little pieces that need to be trimmed. Alright, there we are. Now, if I take my piece here and lay it back down, this is basically how it's going to go on there. So let's go to the next step, which is applying the glue to both the substrate and the veneer itself. Now you want to make sure that you brush this off, because it's really easy to get some sawdust or something underneath it. So just kind of give yourself a nice clean surface to work with, because you don't want to glue something down between the veneer and the substrate. So just make sure you get it cleaned off. Alright, let's go move the camera to the other work area here, and we'll put some glue on it. Okay, now for the next step. Now we're going to apply the glue, and this is a heat lock glue that I got from veneersupplies.com. And what we want to do is we're first going to put the glue on here, then we're going to let it give it some time to dry. So and this is an iron-on glue. You can do that with regular wood glue too if you want. So we're going to put the glue on, and then we're going to roll the glue out. Now we don't want to have the two ends loose, because if we're gluing, we could pull up as we're moving this roller. We could pull up on this, and we could slide. This could cause it to slide some, and then we might get glue underneath the veneer, which would be on our face side, so our good side. So we don't want to do that. All right, I put the glue down or onto the substrate and the veneer. I glued the ends down to keep this veneer from moving around, and as you can see, I got the glue on there. You want to make sure you roll it out really nice, and make sure you're getting all over all the substrate and all the veneer. And this is a heat lock glue that I got from veneersupplies.com. And so what you do is you put the glue on the substrate and the veneer, you let it dry, and then you join the pieces together and then run a hot iron over it, and it will adhere the veneer down to the substrate. So right now let's let this dry up, and It's probably going to take a little bit for it to dry up because my shop is warm today and the humidity in here is a little high also. So it's going to take longer than the 20 minutes that the manufacturer says it would take to let it set up and dry. So I've just been leaving them set for about an hour. I've done the other pieces already, so I wanted to show you how I do this one. So let's let this sit up and dry, and then we'll come back and we'll iron it on. Okay, both of our pieces are dried. It took probably about an hour and a half before I came back out here again, and they look like they're dry. So I'm heating up the iron now. So now I just come along and I peel off this tape. Just take your time. Peel away from the edge. You don't want to peel this way because then you might break the veneer or crack it or whatever you want to call it, but you don't want to do that, so pull away from the end. Then we can move our piece over here so you can see that I can put my hand on here. It's nice and dry, but it's a little bit tacky. So now I want to just come over here and I want to try to just lay this on here where I want it. So I'm going to come over here a little bit by the camera here and just make sure I get this grain where I want it to be. So I want that there. You can see that it's a little bit tacky. That's pretty good there. Alright. I think I got it where it goes. So now my iron is hot. So I want to start from the center and move outwards. And that's just so I don't get any air pockets in there. So I'm just going to hold it on here and just kind of go over it with the iron nice and slow. And you want to kind of keep your iron moving. You don't want to overheat it. I have never scorched a piece of veneer, and I've never had any of this veneer come apart after I've finished this process. So I do recommend it as being one of the easier ways to do veneer. I've also just used the plain wood glue and put some heavy clamps, like a heavy object to it, or clamp something down on it. And but not with this thermal type glue. So this is basically the same thing you do when you're doing edge banding. It's basically the same process. So I just go over it. Now when I go over and take it over to the router table, and we'll use a flush trim bit on it to get all the excess off, or I guess the excess you would call it, off of there. I might come back again with this hot iron again and go over it just one more time, due to the fact that maybe the process of taking the excess off with the router bit is maybe pulled some loose, but it doesn't happen very often, but I just to go over it anyway just to make sure. So this is about all I need to do now, and then after I'm done ironing this on, then I'm going to let it sit and cool off, and then once it's cooled off, we'll take it over to the router table and we'll get rid of the excess, and then we'll be done. All of our pieces will be done now. Alright, so that's all I do. So I'm going to unplug the iron, and then we'll come back. I'll set everything up over at the router table, and then when this cools off, we'll come back and we'll remove the excess. Alright, we're going to flip this over, and then we'll take off the excess. Okay, we got everything veneered today. All my pieces are done. Now I just need to give them a good sanding and then glue the whole frame together. I probably will not video that because it's too big for my workbench. It's too big for my saw platform there, my whole saw like I was using when I was putting the veneer on. It's not going to fit on that. It's too wide. So I'm going to have to glue this up on the floor over here, and it's not going to be pretty for anybody to watch. So the next time you see the face frame, it will be completely glued together. And then I will just give it a real quick sand over and fix any imperfections. And then once I got that all done, then I will make a video and we will put some stain on this and see what it looks like with stain. So, thank you for being here today, and I hope you learned something. And if you have any questions, please put them in the comments section and I'll try to answer them. Or if you have some suggestions on how to do this better, quicker, faster, that would be great. I'm always looking for new techniques. So if anybody watches these videos that has done this before or does it a different way, let me know, and I'll try it out for sure. But thank you for being here today. Like and subscribe to my channel. Hit the bell notification, I guess, if you want to see when I post a video. But thank you very much for subscribing, and we'll catch you next time.